right, Baron here. 50-50 should be the standard, and if it's not, child support should only apply if both parents work and one has more time. But at the very least, there should be a cap on child support. So you brought up several really, really good points in that comment. So 50-50 should be the standard. 100% agree. The premise behind equal and shared parenting, a presumption that custody be 50-50, unless one party can prove that's not in the best interest of the child. We're up to 3 states now. 3 states have this legislation active. Kentucky from 2018, Arkansas for 2021, and then West Virginia in 2022. So that's something that is gaining a lot of momentum, and I would not be shocked if next year is the first year that we see multiple states get across the finish line. There's going to be several that are really going to make a good run at it. So, I agree 100%. So child support is a broken calculation a lot of times. A cap, I don't know if you could put a cap on it just because incomes vary so wildly and family roles vary so wildly. But I think there needs to be guardrails that prevents both parties from living in poverty. Right now, with child support, there's a tendency of it creates really 2 parents that are living below the poverty line. So we know that the way currently custody gets settled puts an extra burden on women that dramatically impacts their earning potential, to the sense that women, depending on their race, earn 50, 60, or 70 cents on the dollar to their similarly situated male colleague. So that's an issue that all of a sudden you've severely inhibited one parent's earning ability. Then you turn around and you force the other parent to supplement it. All of a sudden you have 2 low-income households. And I dare you to find a social study that says that growing up in a low-income household or multiple low-income households is a positive. So it definitely needs to be it definitely needs to be fixed. There needs to be guardrails to prevent the payor from living in poverty. And the 50-50 piece, that's always a weird one. In terms of, we have a lot of parents who end up just waiving child support at 50-50. Others demand the guideline child support. I tend to agree. I mean, I think when parties have been in a relationship, that's when things get a little bit challenging in terms of if one parent was the breadwinner and the other parent, it was decided they stay at home and they take care of the kids, you probably need some sort of equalization for a period of time. But if the parent parties were never took those roles, were never in that type of relationship, I would tend to agree with you. If there was never a you stay at home or you cut back on your work and I'll provide for the family, then a 50-50 arrangement, you pay for yours, I'll pay for mine. And barring some extreme circumstance, you don't need child support. And we've even seen this from a female perspective. It'd probably been about a year and a half ago, Halle Berry came out and she had a ridiculous child support and spousal support bill. Why? Because she was rich and famous and married someone who was not. And all of a sudden she was paying, I think it was like $15,000, $16,000 a month when she got divorced. So definitely needs to be some guardrails. And the work thing, I think we're seeing a lot more of a trend towards the expectation that you go get work. So I think that we've seen a lot of that post-COVID now, where the perception is jobs are so readily available that we have seen a lot of courts go in and say, Mom, you got to go back to work, or Dad, you got to go back to work. And Baron, ridiculous, $15,000 because you married someone rich. it's the system. And the really screwy thing about California is if you are ultra wealthy, there's literally there's statutes that say the child support calculation doesn't apply and the judge can do whatever they want. So it definitely does get screwy. And we see it with both men and women. I think there's going to be an interesting dynamic in the next 10 to 15 years. Something like 60+% of college graduates are female. It's north of that, I believe, in law school. I mean, we're talking 55-60% of law school graduates are female. The vast majority of advanced degrees are female. So I think we're going to see a tide turn here where females are more educated. And as I'm 31, as my generation grows into the leadership roles, we're going to see it's going to be more women than men. And so we're going to see a shift where men earn less than women, at least on the front of education. Now there's some like the blue collar trades and different things are always going to kind of be the equalizing factor because they're so male dominant and they pay so well. But you're going to see a turn where women earn generally more than men, I think, or they start to bridge the gap of equaling that. And it's going to be an interesting dynamic in family court. We've definitely seen some petitions come across where the attorney just files for attorney's fees, child support, spouse support, everything for mom, and mom earns 2 or 3 times what dad did. We actually had an extreme case where it was more like 10 times. So it's an interesting dynamic that I think is going to kind of start to turn here in the next decade or so.